This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only.
The Obama administration hopes to announce a resumption of Israeli-Palestinian peace talks, but Israel's ever-expanding network of settlements seems to stand in the way. Will a new push for settlement freeze succeed, or will Netanyahu's delay tactics prevail? Answers to these questions and more on Link TV's Mosaic Intelligence Report.
UN resolutions, the Oslo Agreement, and negotiations over Israeli withdrawal from Palestinian territories occupied in 1967 have all been replaced by buzzwords such as settlement freeze and confidence-building measures. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has skillfully managed to get the international community spinning its wheels over issues that have been dealt with decades ago. During a recent press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu, Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, said,
"Stopping the construction of settlements plays a key role within this process. Progress must be made, and I once again stress that the German government believes time is running out."
Her comments came after Netanyahu held talks with George Mitchell, the U.S. Middle East envoy, amid tension between Washington and Israel over the issue of settlements. Israel's ever-expanding network of settlements in the occupied territories is viewed by many members of the international community as the most significant obstacle to the creation of a viable, sovereign Palestinian state. The settlement freeze idea was born in 1977 after the Camp David summit. In a letter to President Jimmy Carter, then Prime Minister Menachem Begin offered a 3-month moratorium on establishing new settlements rather than the longer moratorium preferred by Washington. The freeze idea was also raised by President George Bush Sr. without success in the context of a U.S. agreement to provide loan guarantees to Israel in the early 90s. The idea was also prominent among the confidence-building measures sought by the Palestinians before and after the Madrid Conference in 1991. The freeze was also reiterated by the Clinton administration, but was watered down when the provision for natural growth was added to it. The saga continued under George W. Bush, and lest we forget it, it was George Mitchell who was dispatched to the region in 2001 to discuss settlement freeze and evacuation recommendations by the Sharm el-Sheikh Fact-Finding Committee, which has called for the cessation of all settlement activity as a key element in constructing a viable diplomatic process. The saga continues again. George Mitchell is back, and we now hear that Israel and the United States are closing the gaps over the contentious issue of West Bank settlement construction, according to what senior American officials who are intimately involved in the matter recently told the Israeli Haaretz newspaper. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has resisted U.S. and international calls for a total freeze on construction, arguing that the Bush administration had acquiesced to continued Israeli settlement activity in large blocks that are likely to be annexed by Israel in any future agreement with the Palestinians. Mr. Netanyahu has also been peddling half-baked truths about the status of Jewish settlements and the squeezing of Palestinian Jerusalemites.
A unified Jerusalem is the capital of the Jewish people and the State of Israel, and our sovereignty over it will not be shaken. This means that the citizens of Jerusalem can buy apartments anywhere in the city. This has been and will continue to be Israel's policy. During the last several years, hundreds of apartments have been bought or rented out to Arabs in West Jerusalem, and we have not intervened in that.
What Mr. Netanyahu failed to mention is the fact that almost all land inside Israel's 1948 borders, including West Jerusalem, has been registered as state land managed by a body known as Israel Lands Authority, which does not sell to Palestinians, especially residents of East Jerusalem who do not hold Israeli citizenship. But then again, Mr. Netanyahu continues his delay tactics following in the footsteps of his mentor, the former Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir, who shortly after the Madrid conference admitted that he had intended to play delaying tactics at the negotiating table for 10 years while accelerating settlement building and accomplishing facts on the ground. thus creating an irreversible situation that even the peace process would not overcome. His words cannot be more true today. Are we in for another round of 10-year delay tactics, talking about settlement freeze? I'm Jamal Dejani for the Mosaic Intelligence Report. To learn more about this program or to share your thoughts, visit us at linktv.org/MIR. You can also follow my updates on Twitter.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.